Hello friends, I'm Rich Cheyenne. In this video I'm going to answer another question asked by one of my viewers on my channel. And that question is, why did I take this path in life? And what he means is the path to be a free person, to live freely, to wild camp, to reject the materialist society and not work for the rich man. Well, you know, it really goes without answering. I mean, it's a common sense thing. I mean, why would anybody want to work for the rich man? And it's easier to answer that question. Why would anybody want to work for the rich man? Why would they not want to be free? And the simple reason is it's a lot easier, actually, to work for the rich man as long as you don't give a crap about your personal freedom, as you don't care about your human rights, as you don't want to be free, you want to be a slave to the rich. They pay you good money, it's easier to work. You know, when you work for yourself, it's definitely harder. Not necessarily that the work is harder, but you have to struggle to get work all the time. And if you work in agriculture, which I did when I was in Mexico, it's not really hard, but it's work, right? You get your hands dirty, right? I mean, the actual work is not physically hard. I mean, there's some things I couldn't do, like I couldn't lift up the costalillas, which are these, I don't know what you call them in English, these burlap bags, I don't know what they call them, you know, full of corn, kernels of corn or things like that. That was too heavy. I couldn't do that. I couldn't lift the bultos de cemento, you know, the cement, bags of cement. And I had kids that were like 14, 15 years old, and like nothing, they throw it up on their shoulder. I couldn't do that. But basically, other than that, most things I was able to do. But it's easier to work for the rich. It's easier to turn off your brain and to just, have somebody tell you, do this, do that. When you're done with this, do this, do this, do this. You work from this and that. You have to wear this and that. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't say this. You can't say that. You know, and blah, blah, blah. They control your life. And for stupid people, for lazy people, that's great. They don't even have to, they can turn off their brain and just let the boss man tell them what to do. But I don't believe that that's what God wants us to be. God wants us to be free. God wants us to use our brain. God wants us to use our intelligence and to work for ourselves. You know, ignorant people also have always criticized me as long as I've had this YouTube channel, because this is not the first time that I've talked about this. You know, in Spanish I've made many videos saying the same thing. And they would say, you're just lazy. Oh, you're just lazy. No, I'm not lazy. I just don't like get down on my knees like you do, you know? I mean, not working for the rich man does not mean not working. Not working. We work as soon as we get out of bed, and we have to think of how we're going to feed ourselves that day. And before, as I explained in the other video, before I got Social Security, when I had to do odd jobs to survive, I had no other income, you know, every single day. In fact, with ganas, con ganas, you know, with, how do you say in English? With, I don't even know how you say it in English. I wanted to, with desire, to go out each day, because it was exciting. You know, what am I going to do today? What, you know, I'm looking for a little odd job work here and there, or they're going to contract me to do something, and what's it going to be today, or what am I going to eat today? You know, I would often just work for food. You know, I'd say, well, what am I going to eat today? Are they going to give me a hamburger? Are they going to give me spaghetti? Are they going to give me a slice of pizza? You know, what am I going to, you know, and what's it going to be like? You know, I had desire, but also your stomach rules. You know, when you're hungry, you get your ass up and you go out and you look for work. But when you work for free, you don't have to accept work you don't want to do. I don't have to accept work that I wasn't able to do or I didn't want to do. You know, and sometimes, or a lot of times, the work was very abusive. I was abused a lot. Small businessmen can be very abusive. You know, there's also very nice ones, but there's a lot of abusive ones, you know, that I remember I had a few places that would send me out to pick up trash on their lot, and there was a lot of trash on their lot. Fine, but like, are you going to give me a bag? So what do you want me? You want me to carry? I had ones to actually tell me, no, we don't have any bags to give you. You can just carry the trash in your hand and take it to the dumpster, and then go back and look for more. So I learned to carry my own bags. I had to carry my own little plastic bags at that time, because some places wouldn't even give me an effing plastic bag. They wouldn't even give me a broom, you know. I always had to carry my own spray bottle to wash windows because they wouldn't give you anything to do. You had to carry your own stuff, you know. It was a little abuse. One place had me go out and pull weeds, which I did, until I couldn't take the sun. I mean, it was in no shade because everything in the U.S. is deforested. This heavy sun, it was like, oh my God. It was in the 80s, 90s outside, and I couldn't. I was getting ready to pass out. Do you think that they'd send me a glass of water? No. I survived for hours doing that, hours. But I still did because I had a big lot to do. They never come out to see how I was doing. They never come out to give me a glass of water in the pure sun. So after a few hours, I said, I can't take this. I mean, the job itself wasn't difficult, but I had a lot to go and I just couldn't take the sun. I was getting ready to pass out. So I went in, I said, I'm sorry, I can't complete the job. And the guy says, oh, I thought you left. I didn't know you. They didn't even look out the damn window to see that I was actually working what they told me to do. They just assumed that I wasn't doing it. I said, forget it. You don't owe me nothing. Forgive it. I worked for 2 hours pulling weeds in this restaurant. I just left. I was so pissed I didn't want to accept anything. I mean, it's just very abusive. And I wonder why we get robbed. I wonder why people are the way they are. Yeah, well, I wonder why these rich businesses are the way they are, right? What can I say? So, what was the question? So why did I plan to do my life? I forget now. I'm an old man, I can't remember clearly. It says, why did I take this path in life? Well, I mean, it's everybody should take this path in life. Nobody should work for the rich man. We should all demand the right to land. We should all demand the right to work freely for ourselves and not be a slave to the rich. But like I said, people are lazy. People are lazy and don't want freedom, And because once you work for the rich man, you gotta follow the rules. When I was younger, before I became enlightened, by God, because from the age of 20, a little or maybe 18 to 45, I did work for the rich man until finally I said enough, right? And I remember when I was really young, like in my early 20s and stuff, I would have jobs. On a few occasions, maybe I'd get laid off or get fired for whatever stupid reason. A lot of times I was fired without any reason. I can talk about that too in the stupid thing. I remember feeling scared. I had this feeling, oh my God, how am I going to live? How am I going to survive? Because my brain wasn't developed enough to figure out that I could work for myself. I could just, which it took me until age 45 to finally get my head together that I didn't need the rich man to survive. But when I was younger, I was told, brainwashed by American schools, American society, the work ethic, work for the rich man. You're learning in school so that you can become a slave to the rich. They don't use the word slave, but that's exactly what it is, And I would have that feeling, oh my God, I'm out of a job, And the times I get fired, I wasn't bad. I was a good worker, a good minimum wage worker. I never stole. I did a good job, but they were for reasons beyond my control. One time I was laid off, a job that they had rehired me many, many times. This was when I worked in the train station, but they lost their contract there. They were going to remodel the station, and not just me, everybody, we all got laid off. I mean, that was, shit happens, right? Another time I worked for these Oriental people in San Diego, California in a hotel. I think it was a place that had run ads. I had answered an ad in the newspaper. They needed a front desk clerk or whatever. And I went, applied, and was given the job right away, which I was very happy about. I did sort of think like, man, oh, I know why, because I had experience previously in Miami, Florida. I worked in some hotels, and I think it was because of that they gave me the job. Maybe, but whatever. But very, very quickly they gave me the job. I was very pleased that I had gotten this job. I worked like maybe 4 days, and they called me on the phone, everything fine. They called me on the phone one day and they say in broken English, we don't need you anymore, you can come pick up your check. And I was like, what? I mean, why? I remember her exact words in broken English. Just leave it like that. Just leave what like that? They're gonna fire me and not even tell me why when I didn't do anything wrong? Well, I later found out that there's a scam that these people use, small business people use, to screw the poor, because the state of California, this is in California at this time, would pay them or give them some benefit, a tax benefit, I think, or something, if they took people off of welfare. I was on food stamps at that time, and by getting this job, I then was taken off of food stamps, even though I only worked there 4 days. So they would hire them to get a tax benefit because they're hiring people off of food stamps, and then they fire you. Which means I had to go back and reapply for food stamps and explain to them why I wasn't working there. I said, well, ask the Oriental owners of the business, because they certainly won't tell me. But it was a scam. It was a scam that these companies use. They hire people and then fire people so they can get a tax benefit, playing with your life, playing with the life of a poor person. So why did I take this path in life? At 45 years old, because it took me until 45 years old before I finally decided to live free. That's one of many, many reasons. I got tired of being screwed by the rich. I just got tired, and I lived much happier, much, much happier with much less stress. I'm 70 years old and I'm still fine, and I never had to starve. I never went more than a day or two without eating, ever. And I just stopped working for the rich man. That's it. Now, of course, when YouTube came along in 2008, as I explained, I started my channel with YouTube. You could say, well, you're working for the rich man because you're working for you. Not really. I'm making videos for my own account. I can do as much as I want or as least as I want. And, it's sort of like you're producing and selling your videos. Yes, there's stupid rules, horrible censorship. They didn't have that censorship in the beginning, but then they come up with all this censorship, which, is not cool. But, but I was still working independently. If I decide not to make videos for a couple months and then go back to make videos, that was okay. It was like I wasn't beholden to anybody. I wasn't signing any contract with anybody. I was just getting a royalty from the videos that I was making. So that really was not working for the rich man. But that's that. So I hope that answered your question. Why did I plan to live, whatever the question was, I can't even remember. Why did I plan this path in life? Why did I take this path in life? Yeah, well, I think it's very logical, very common sense, just to be free, to be a free person, which I think everybody should do. Have a nice day, everybody. I am Rishayan.